Alright, 6L45R. Customer is having a slipping problem. That's pretty damn vague. Let's see what we see. Inch and 3/16. Here's our tag, tells us what it is. $10 millimeters on the pan. Push in on that tab, pull up on the lever, pull our pass-through connector out. E2 on the valve body bolts. Pull this out of the case. Pull the fill tube boot out of the case. $13 millimeters on the pump. Pull our lockup O-ring off. Make sure last time I tried to change these pump O-rings out, or pump sealing rings out, the unit didn't work properly. So my advice is to not change those out. 8 millimeter on the stator. peg in it. And be changing that bolt out. Alright, check our pump surface here. It's looking pretty good. See what our PR valve is looking like. Not looking horrible. It's going to get changed out anyway. The pump slide looks okay. I saved this rubber and this wiper. I reuse it. Our surface here is looking good. We've got our planetary and our sun gear. Looking good. We've got a washer and a bearing that goes behind that. And it feels good. I'll take the drums apart in a minute. Got a bearing that goes on the front here. This race will stay on the back. Make sure our surface here where the clutch is right is not all eat up. It's looking good. Got the bearing. This bearing. Another bearing on the back here. Check our surface here where the clutch is right. Always needs a bushing kit. These are looking pretty worn. Snap ring opening is at the 9 o'clock. Center support out. The bearing's going to stay in there. Check our planetary pinions. Everything looks okay. Everything's rolling okay. We don't need to take all this apart. Got a bearing and a bearing between the ring gear and the case. Our case is empty. Take our center support apart. I don't put mine in the foot press. I just push the snap ring off, take it apart right here. if it's going to cooperate with me today. Alright, our sprag assembly. Make sure it's turning clockwise, locking counterclockwise. Cushion plate, make sure it's not cracked. And bell plate, make sure it's not cracked. The rubber's still pretty soft, but probably going to replace it. Cushion plate here, make sure it's not cracked. Snap ring's wanting to be difficult this morning. Here we go. Still nice and soft. Make sure this is not cracked. Bushing's looking pretty worn. Alright, and drum. Actually, we need to air check this. Make sure we're not cracked. If it was cracked, there'd be air bubbles coming up in here. Make sure cushion plate's not broke. And need a pair of snap ring pliers like so. Actually, those were too big. I need these. Alright, if you look right there, you can see what looks like splash coming out. That's the rubber deteriorating. So we'll be putting pistons in here. Make sure our bell plate's not cracked. Make sure cushion plate's not cracked. Make sure this cushion plate's not cracked. Alright, this is our bottom two pistons. Make sure this plate's not cracked. Snap rings. This one's bad about cracking on the 6L80s. I don't know about the 6L45s, how bad they are. Make sure this plate's not broke. Alright, now on this drum we're going to take air and we're going to get right up in there. It's going to be blowing around this weld, and if it's cracked, air bubbles are going to come out. Alright, we should be good. Alright, judging from what the guy who drove it and tested it out for me, what he was saying, I think we got a converter problem going on here. I had his shutter, and I think between the bushing kit, zip kit, new converter, and new clutches, we're going to be good. I need to press this shaft out of here because there's a gasket under here we need to replace. Actually, I think on the 6L45 it doesn't have one. Yeah, on the 6L45 it doesn't have it, but it's off anyway. Alright, let me go write this one up and get it sold, and we'll be back on the rebuild.